This is the Commissioners. I'm DJ G.A.B.E, SoundboyT, and we're in the studio with our special guest. Shout out to WiseTola, who couldn't be with us today, but she's here with us in spirit. Spirit, yes. Okay. So we're here with a very special guest. But how are you, man?
I'm very good. And yourself?
Oh, very good, very good. You know, what happened to T happened to me the other time. I was going to a gig down where across the river.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, the tunnel was closed. I don't know how it's going to be. You know,
It's a very frustrating feeling when you're sat beside.
very frustrating.
Yeah.
And once it's closed, it's like everything comes to us. We don't appreciate these little tunnels until they're closed.
Of course.
Then you realize how many cars actually go through it. Because we have to go through get a ferry.
That was
3 hour kind of
3 hour gentle as well. That could be quite temperamental because only one seems to work at any given time anyway. So you have to wait in a very long queue.
It wasn't the most pleasant of things.
Yes,
But
yeah. So on to why we're here today. We're here with a special guest, a guest that I would call a Afrobeat powerhouse who delivers electrifying music. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about no other person than Bimbi Phillips.
Yes,
Welcome to
yes.
the Commissioners Podcast. A round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
I've got to say,
Thank you for having me.
I've got to say, before you even accept your welcome, thank you as well for the presence.
Yeah, you came bearing gifts.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we like guests like you. You are a gentleman, and you practice what you preach, which we'll get on to. You know,
No, it's we appreciate this. This is this podcast is already making waves, and you know the fact that you're giving us the opportunity.
sure.
It's much appreciated. So thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We have contrasting clothing line, you know. So I mean, I intentionally wore this, you know, because I want to make a statement walking around the area. You know, I'm in Stratford, so
Oh, right. Okay. Football chat. This is where I close off, by the way. I don't do football talk, so you lose me when you speak football.
but then again, you are elegantly dressed. You know, if you're an African or even these days, the clothing is crossed over.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to be African to appreciate this elegance.
Yeah, it's a style.
Thank
You know,
you.
that's a style, right? Exactly.
Thank you. It's shout out to Afro Model UK. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you're on your model behavior as well.
Yeah.
I mean, distinctively, I mean, I could have easily said, you know, you qualify to be an executive in a very, you know, one of these Fortune 100 companies who happens to...
Oh, you never know. There are many facets to this.
That's what I want to find out.
There are many facets to him.
Because I'm a musician, maybe the hair will give it away, like
Yeah.
it's got some sort of artistry in him. But, you know, somebody meeting you for the first time, I would say, you know, I would rather want to just, as G.A.B.E would know, I like to take it back a bit. You know, understand why you are.
I'll let you take it back.
Understand why you are who you are.
Yeah.
You know, get a bit of your background, and you know, if you're asked to describe yourself to somebody who doesn't know you, and be safe.
Well, I think usually depends on who is asking, you know. So if people if people that know my music background world, I would just say I'm an artist. Right. If people know my business background world, I'll tell them I'm into business acquisitions and a few other things when it comes to business. So I also run a startup, travel fintech startup as well, and a consultancy firm. So there's the business side, there's the music side as well, and both of them is kind of like a husband and wife. And you can't separate them, because actually I go into business because of music.
Right.
Right. So back in the days, when I started music, I wasn't given the opportunity as I wanted. So I thought, you know what, why not, instead of them not inviting us to perform in the show, I will create my own show. So that's how I go into music business, because then I had to learn, how do you put your show together? Because you're not just putting your show together, you're making sure it's better than the other person's show that did not invite you. So how do you pull more crowd? How do you get more artists involved? And then that got me into the business, and I just fell in love with the business. So just been doing both ever since.
Yeah. How do you manage the two? Because I feel like sometimes one pulls you in a certain direction more than the other, and one also dominance of your life over the other? How do you get that sort of balance?
I would say I started very early. Well, from our African background, 18 years at then was early, right? 16 to 18 years were early. If you come to the Western world, probably not. So I think I've always been someone I'm a busy bee. So I've enjoyed it. So right now, I think I just run on autopilot, to be honest. I don't think if it's something I just started now, it would be easy to, but now I just run on autopilot. It's just my second sense. And I think every creative person is a business person. They don't just know it, right? Even if you are an artist, you need to package yourself as a product, understand your audience, sell yourself, collaborate, work with everyone in your supply chain, and you market yourself. So you're actually a business without knowing. So I think every creative person does it automatically. You guys do it as well. You have to think about the business behind your podcast, right? And you have to. So I think it comes organically.
Okay.
But mine, I think I've taken advantage of exploring more of other business areas. And mine has kind of more developed in the business side as well as the music side.
That notion that you learn as you go. Does that apply in your world?
I think, yeah, definitely. I think I tell people, especially people that say they want to get a new job, but they don't have no one to employ them because they don't have the experience. And I usually say something, your CV is not a reflection of who you were, it's who you want to be. Because if that's the case, if it's based on who you were, then how did they hire the first CEO who's never been a CEO?
I think that's a very practical question that even employers don't even ask themselves. Most of them don't even ask themselves these, because that's when the issue of experience comes to play. You want to know, what have you done and how are you going to manage a situation if it happens again.
So the best way to approach that is, for who you want to become or the role you want to become, how do you take things from what you've done in the past to, embody that future? And even as an artist as well, if I want to expand my audience and sell a 5,000 capacity, I've never done it before, but probably I've done 2,000. So it doesn't mean I can't do 5,000. I take some of those experience and developed it to, get to the next level. So to answer your question, you basically are learning on the job, right? Because you can never be something you have. You are trying to be something that you are not, right? So you have to learn your way to become it.
So a few years ago, you did a play. Talk through that, because I think you're one of the few artists who's actually been able to do that I've ever seen. Talk us through that. Then what was the thinking behind that?
So for me as an artist, what motivates me as being an artist is creativity, right? So, and passing messages. So the tour there, I decided I needed to pass something meaningful in the tour. Then I noticed that in our European tour that we're planning, most people that were signing up were not Nigerians or Africans, right? So, and they were only doing that because they want to learn more about the things I was saying then. I was talking a lot about Africa. Afrobeat wasn't as popular then,
right,
before coronavirus. So I was more vocal about our history. I infused the Oduduwa culture into our performances and mixed that with South African acts and things like that. Yeah, so those are the kind of things that get me interested. Get me excited with music, and then using the normal Afrobeat songs to perform it.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing then. So we tagged the concert tour "Exile of the African Warrior" then. And yeah, that was pre-COVID. But now we are passing a different message now.
Yes. So Nigerian men, sorry, because Teddy's Ghanaian, by the way. Nigerian men have a bit of a reputation. They have their reputation. This one's a good reputation. They have this reputation about spending for their women. I think the word has gotten, especially in the UK, word has gotten round that if you date a Nigerian, you're sorted. Your latest album, Billing's Way, speaks to that.
Was that the innovation? Was that the creation? Was that the inspiration behind it?
Yes. So basically, the story is after that concert period and coronavirus happened, I personally felt like I needed to speak more to the audience. I felt like when I'm performing, the audience can't really relate to me as an artist. They're related to the story, but they can't relate to me as an artist. So I really sat my manager down then, and I was like, you know what, we need to, I need to be more authentic. I didn't feel authentic myself. I can tell stories, but I didn't feel authentic myself. And literally he was like, Bimbi, have you noticed that anytime you're around, you normally have some certain women around you? And I was like, okay, why is that case? And then we started looking at it, and that was because of my opinion towards how a man should treat a woman. And I talk about it a lot. I can sit down with you here and talk about how a woman should never pay for a meal. We should take her out. And I will give you different reasons. And those conversations are interesting to me, right? And then he just said, why not sing about it? You talk about it all the time.
Right.
And that's why I decided, we tried the first song, and we saw the reaction. We saw how it was actually a voice. It's easier for a man to speak to other men about this topic than for a woman to speak out, because women will be easily tagged once you start to hear them speak about this topic. And yeah, I decided, I'm organically passionate about it anyway, so let's sing about it. And that's what Billing's Way is about.
So, Billing's Way.
Yeah, Billing's.
Yes. And I feel like they'll bill you.
It's basically a road to billing. So if you are going through that road, any man that is driving that road is a man.
So have you had any sort of reaction from, like the opposite reaction from men, thinking you're just creating unnecessary pressure for us? I mean, we live in a very, what they call a balanced world now, where what a man can, that woman can do.
Yeah.
So societal thing.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. So one thing I've noticed is I've actually gotten more positive reactions from men, which is a bit...
is it maybe African men or?
I think so. Give you an example. So before I even to answer this one, I remember maybe a couple of years ago when we were really just putting the brand together, the lady that came together to just structure the brand properly, white lady, American, knows nothing about Afro, but she's just a brand person.
Right.
And when she finished, she was like, she can't wait for her husband to listen to this. She doesn't even understand pidgin, but she just got the idea. And she was like, there are some things I've been trying to tell him that he doesn't understand, but if I forward this song to him, he's going to understand. So it's not just African or Nigerian, right? But to answer your question, so if you look at, if you go on social media and you hear this topic a lot, you hear it from certain guys who voice out in not so positive way. However, there are lots of men out there that do this. And if you really listen to the songs are carefully written where you are actually praising men that do it. So we know that the society is hard. Yeah. We know that already. But there are some men that still understand the value of taking care of their women.
Yeah.
Their spouse, if they have girlfriend as a young man, if they have daughters or sisters. When you see men doing that, you then appreciate more that even despite the fact that the economy is hard and no one is technically forcing them, they put it within themselves to do that. So Billing's Way is actually to praise those men. So if you really listen to the album, it's basically saying that, we will back our love with action.
Right.
We will show our women love with action. Right. So he's praising the men that do that.
Right.
So that's what Billing's Way is actually about. So it's more of praising the men that actually are taking that step, right, even despite the fact that the economy is the way it is.
So, you said a woman should never pay for it. Is that your stance or no?
Yeah.
Let me tell you where I come from.
where I stand, I like to look after my women. I like this. I think it's an African thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
This is because it makes you feel like a man.
Yes.
But every now and again, I'll love my woman to do the same for me. Every now and again.
Yeah.
So are you saying that every now and again should not even exist?
No. So I'm not talking about extreme circumstances. It's like the same way you've done it. There are men that just love their women to cook for them. But every now and again doesn't mean that the man can cook for them. Right?
It's true.
But what we are trying to say is the fact that let me give you an example, for instance. So I'm not saying women shouldn't work or women shouldn't pay. That's not literally what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying that the fact that men understand that that's their responsibility. When a woman goes ahead to do it, you would appreciate her the same way how organically it's a woman's responsibility to take care of her young baby she just gave birth to. But if the man says, oh, don't worry, I'll handle it, it doesn't mean that it's not his job, but you appreciate more. Do you understand? So it's not tagged as this is somebody's job, but organically, there are ways that men want to provide organically.
Yeah.
If the woman steps up to do that, I think the issue that we're having on social media is we're expecting everybody to do the same. We're expecting the same from everyone. So you can't. Yes, now you can't appreciate those you should appreciate anymore because you just expect the same, right? If, for instance, I do the things that organically women would do, probably you would not be appreciated anymore because they just expect where you should do it anyway. I think I think that's not good, right? So all I'm saying is for a man, we know the things that we're meant to do.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that women can't do it, but when they go ahead, take the step to do it, then it's great to appreciate them more.
I want to talk about first dates because I feel like first dates they're an exception to that rule on first date because when a woman is not yet your woman, trying to still find ground, look at, trying to see if this is the right fit for me. Where does that fit in? Because I don't mind going on a date with a woman that I'm yet to know, and I don't mind paying for it.
Yeah.
The only problem I have is the expectation behind it because certain women expect a bit more than just you paying.
Yeah.
So they want you to do the whole thing as if you're the man already. You're just trying to get to know the woman. So once you're willing to pay for the bill, how do you manage expectations in terms of, okay, I'm still getting to know you're not yet my woman.
Yeah.
But I can meet certain costs, but we also have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Today.
So first of all, when people ask me that, I usually say caveat, I'm not a relationship coach. So first of all, if you go and follow, you better one chance straight first.
This is the love gospel according to me.
Yeah, exactly. Now, second of all, I think most times men are unfair, right? And our approach in a certain way. Now, I don't think there's anything like expectation. I think it's just, I would say go back to appreciation. So if a woman that you knows that you are not a man yet, and for some reason, I think you've got into a stage that you've invited her to your house, and you guys ate, and she just left the table, left you to clean up, how would you feel?
I actually won't mind because if I've invited you, I'm ready to do all of that.
No, but that's you are ready to do. So it's different. It's like you taking a girl on a date, first date, and she's ready to pay. That's fine. But I'm just saying that when you see her do that, that's kind of very loving from a woman's perspective. Every man wants to feel like they are loved and served like a king. So even if it's the first time she's coming and she does that, you will feel different than a girl that will just leave everything there and we're like, well, it's a man and a woman's work now. Same way, if you take a woman on the first date and you show her a glimpse of the kind of life you want to treat your woman like, she will take you more seriously than somebody that just says the first date anyway, just because at the end of the day, everyone is trying to sell themselves, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, and I usually say this, right? I think most men find out too late how to treat their woman because they never prepared or practiced. You can't practice on how to treat your wife after you got married. You practice with a girlfriend. You can't practice on how to treat a girl in a long relationship when you go in a long relationship. You practice from the first date. Mm. So the practice makes perfect, right? So if you want to treat your wife a certain way, you practice from the first date, right? On how you think your wife would feel. She might end up not being right, but at least you're practicing yourself.
I think certain things that if it happens on the first date, it's more or less like digging your own kind of pit to fall in. Because imagine if you're trying to split a bill on the first date, from where we come from, I mean, it looks a bit or maybe you're a woman, you come in and like just the little things like maybe replacing the pillow where you've used it, or maybe just trying to sort out something or something else. So it doesn't just bilking up. I just walk past it. Those little things kind of leave a lasting impression.
Yes,
and it probably will not be the positive one.
Yeah,
very negative as well.
Yeah.
But how about expectations? You've mentioned that quite a few times. People have a high sense of expectation these days. I know, we will be talking about music, but let's deal with everyday life. Yes, let's deal with everyday life. Has social media kind of built into the world some higher expectation of people? Just a mere dating, or even like in a relationship.
Of course, social media has created a different world, and I think it's both for men and women, right? What everybody will talk about is, women now, they expect too much. Yes, they do, because men too expect too much. Let's even talk about from a man's perspective. You go on Instagram now, and 90% of the girls you see are perfectly shaped. So your expectation now is something else versus any other girl you meet. So psychologically, you're already pressuring her to be what you see all the time. Then it's the same thing. So if social media, you see a lifestyle with a guy with the Benz and this, psychologically as well, she's kind of pressuring you, right? So that's the evil social media has caused, right, in general. But I think many people misinterpret it to say it's just for one gender. It's not just for women, it's for men as well. Right. Everything has changed, right? So it's for everyone to know what the reality is, right? And I know, and I keep saying this, I say the very few guys that talk about this from a negative point of view, they are very few. It just feels like they have the loudest voice because that's the people you see. Because the people that actually take care of their women don't go to social media to say, I have just done this. Right? There are things that you've done for a woman that nobody would ever, and you don't even want people to know. Why? Why do you want them to know? Right? So we need, and that's why I wasn't surprised when I saw that over 50% of the people that have signed up for my show are actually men, not women. Wow. And then begin to look like, actually, I was thinking that it would be like 80% women. No.
The men they want to come in school.
There are lots of men doing it. There are lots of men that understands the pressure, and it would be nice if they are celebrated as well.
Absolutely. Talking of celebration, you're now using your artistry to kind of champion women's rights. Has that always been the agenda, or is it something that you are just now looking at and just say, I think we need to kind of focus on celebrating and talking about women and more societal issues?
So I think you can tell that I'm just passionate about talking about it, right? Especially because I think more women need men to talk about it more. And that's where I found myself all the time. However, I think I only really realized why I've been like this about 2 or 3 years ago when my dad passed. And I saw that, 90% of the women that came to the people that came to burial were women. And then it just dawned on me that actually growing up was just lots of women in the house, right? From the ones he's helped, sent to school, walked down the aisle for them because there was no man figure in their life. And I've seen how actually maybe that's why. Right. It's the way I grew up.
Right.
He also has a perception of, he feels he always says it that it's a man's responsibility to make sure a woman never feels vulnerable. Right. So even if you meet a woman that is not your relative and you can tell she feels vulnerable, as a man, it's your responsibility to protect that person. So that's always been its own. So maybe that's where it came from, and I think that's where it came from. So it organically just and I think from the very moment I tried the first song. And I played it just to test and see if this is really what I should do to some ladies. And they were just numb. They didn't have response. And I was like, somebody talk, what's going on? And they said, men are not like this, Joe.
straight up.
And it touched my heart that they don't even believe that there are men like this. And I'm like, if I even look at my closest circle, like let me say the closest 10 men I know, guys I know as friends, they're all like that.
Wow.
So where did the impression actually come from? I think it came from misinformation, right? Where
that travels fast.
Yeah, where misinformation and misexpectation.
Yeah.
Where people don't cut, and I'm going to say this very, very carefully, and humility. That people don't cut their coat according to their size, right? You see a girl that you know that is not on your level.
What does that even mean? Let's talk about that for a second. What is that even on your level? Sorry, that's the question. It was on what level?
So there are levels everywhere, right? Even every man, every woman, everyone is not on the same level. If I meet,
so when you say level, you mean financially?
It could be anything you define, right? So for instance, if I want to. If, I don't know, say Beyonce comes in here right now, right? I don't think that we are at the same level when it comes to music or net worth, and by net worth, I don't actually mean money. I mean the people around that hard net worth, right? It's as hard as I'm going to say that, that's the fact. If I need her to treat me as a peer, she has to pick me up into a circle. That's the fact. If Obama walks in here, we are not on the same level.
So status.
I don't know how you can define it. You can define it by maybe career level, money level, whatever everyone knows, right? Nobody should lie to this. Everybody knows, right? So, and if you look at years ago, right, days of our forefathers, that's what marriage was about then. You use, when you are giving out your daughter, you make sure that you marry her to a higher class so that your family can, right? If your family is not in that class, or if you don't, that's how marriage was then, which kind of, I would say some people still like that, but that was a standard. So everybody knows, right? But to make it very simple, let's keep it as simple as desire. If I desire to have a specific type of lady that I want to be with, I've kind of set that level, right, for myself. So meaning that and let me make an example. Let me say I want somebody that, is very learned, has a PhD, blah, blah, blah. If somebody else comes that hasn't achieved that, then, and I don't look at that person, it doesn't mean I'm disrespecting the person. I just have a specific desire, right? If looking at that desire, I don't find my ideal person, that's my own problem. It's the same way if women have a specific desire of a particular man that they want, and you don't have that as well, you can't fault her for desiring what she wants.
No, not at all.
And you can't talk against her to say she's a gold digger for desiring that. I think it's just wrong. That's her desire. Even if she doesn't find somebody within that, then you can't say it's because of that. That's why you have not found an husband.
So whatever happened to her being obviously that person that can actually bring,
bring both of you. So let's say, for instance, you see the desire because of the success, or maybe what happened to her being successful enough to be able to find a man who doesn't need that.
No. So nothing happens. So that's if it's a desire to find that. Remember, I said desire. Anyone can desire anything, right? I found. I have a friend, for instance, that is looking for the ideal soulmate, but his desire is that he's going to go to Nigeria from London and go to the village. No matter what you say, he doesn't care about London girls. He doesn't care about Lagos girls. That is his desire. So even if you introduce anybody to him, he already has a perception in his mind. He wants somebody in the village because he thinks they are more cultured, but you can't fault him for that. That's his desire. If somebody else is on the other spectrum of the desire and says, I don't want to marry from the village, the person must be a British person, but that's their desire.
A rich lady.
It's their desire. And I think when guys state their desire, no one faults it. Nobody faults it. You find, in fact, it's so bad that you guys will sit down together and say, what kind of girl do you like? This girl must fine. She must get nyash. She must this. And everybody will just be laughing. Nobody will scold him. But if you ask again, what's your desire? He has to have money. He has to be earning this. Everyone will scold her. But it's exactly the same because men are driven by what they see. Women are driven by security. What's the deal? They both just said the same thing, right? So I think everyone has a right to what they desire. And everyone, without lying to themselves, can assess themselves and see if they fall within that bracket. And if you don't fall within that bracket, brotherly, find your brackets. You don't have to hate on the person that has, and it doesn't concern you. The person never finds anyone. It's not your business. It's like you're not the person's father. You're not a father.
Yeah.
Right? Just find your own level.
None of your business, basically.
Yeah.
So you're going on tour. I heard you're back on the touring game. Talk us through that. So what's happening? When is that happening?
So we're likely to start in November. So basically what we've been telling people to do is to basically sign up to the wait list.
And around the website for that.
So bimbi.live, bimbi.live, Live. And it's been incredible. Like we've had over 225 cities in 100 countries of people signing up. That's really amazing. 125 cities, yeah. Even cities like, in Sudan, and it's just crazy. I'm telling you.
So based on where you have the majority then.
So yes, based on that, based on the city as well. There are some cities that we know nobody. 225 is a lot. We can't go to 225.
That reveals a lot to you, as an artist, right?
Yeah.
Where impact is being felt. Yeah. If you, like I said, you've seen Sudan. I bet there are some countries that probably you've not even heard of.
That I've not heard of. Yeah. So it's been eye opening, right? It's been eye opening to see that. Even though, I'm Nigerian, Afrobeats, the topic we're talking about, Nigerian straight a lot, you can see how it's appreciated everywhere. Everywhere. And the starts with women versus men as well. Mm-hmm. So it's something that I'm excited about, and,
So what can people expect from your
show? So basically, I remember when we talk about it, it's usually funny. People will say that definitely women want to be in the show. They want to come to the show because they know that even if they find single men, they know it's single men that have sense.
Yeah. Reason why you need to sign up to Bimbi.
So, but yeah, it's we've tagged it because I like giving my tour names.
Yeah, of course.
We've tagged it show for your woman. So we're saying it's a show for your woman.
Okay.
We're also saying that you should show for your woman. And
you be having one in London?
Yes, definitely. London, Lagos, those are cities that there. You have to be there. You have to be there.
It's on the issue of organizing your own tour, and look at the preparation that you put in using your the waiting list as an example. I think quite recently it was in the news, it was up for debate about ticket prices and, promoters, that debate about artists not. basically pricing themselves out because
yeah.
they are overcharging promoters, and promoters can't afford to pay this. So that means artists are not performing. But you, on the other hand, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's compare the two situations. You know, what's your take on that stance that artists are basically pricing themselves out? And in a situation where you yourself, you are doing it, what would be your advice to your fellow artists?
Well, I think the only way I can make a sensible opinion is looking at it from the business side, right? Because if I look at it from an artist side, everyone can do what they want to do, right? It's not, you can't tell anyone you can't box anyone's creativity as an artist. But from a business side, it's basically supply demand. If promoters are the one booking artists and they can't afford them anymore, then the artists won't have jobs, right, when it comes to concerts. Except the artists don't need the promoters and they're doing it themselves. But then, so that's the best way to look at it. So things would correct itself if a promoter is saying, I can't afford and this is how much I can afford, and the artist isn't getting shows, then the prices will correct itself. But if the artists are still getting lots of shows, then maybe it's not the artist's issue. Maybe the promoter needs to expand their audience and expand their revenue model in order to afford the artists.
Of course.
So I think that's the best way I can look at it from a demand and supply point of view. So in case something needs to correct, either the artist who doesn't get booking as much as before correct their SEM, or the promoter upgrades their business model to afford and get this artist the whole booked.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been so you haven't got any dates. You just know it's a month of November.
Yeah, so we're telling people, just go sign up. The more people sign up, the more it impacts the places we want to go next, right?
So are you doing the same waiting list for the London show?
For everyone,
London is just a given.
I think everyone knows that London, Lagos is always a given.
Okay.
I love London.
Yeah.
I love Lagos, so it's always a given. We've had people also approach us from different places like Kenya, Ghana. But yeah, the more, join the wait list, that would help us know if to come to your city.
Absolutely.
As well. And those are the people that we would announce the dates to first, to give them the opportunity before announcing it outside. But yeah.
Have you performed in Ghana yet?
Never been to Ghana.
You've never been?
Never been to Ghana. There was an opportunity I was meant to go, but I couldn't make it. So Ghana is one of them.
So that means it has to be a must then.
Yeah.
It must be
Ghana. Yes.
It would be nice to at least, meet out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a show on the road. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So what's the website for the...
So it's bimbi.live. So BIMBI.live, LIVE.
And all they do is just put your details.
Just put your details and just join the wait list and signed up, and we'll let you know when it's out.
Where can they find you? What's your social?
So all my social pages are Bimbi Phillips, so BIMBI, and Phillips with one L, so PHILIPS. So Bimbi Phillips on all my socials. Yeah. Great.
This has been the Commissioners. I'm DJ G.A.B.E, SoundboyT, and I've been in the studio in conversation with the one and only Bimbi Phillips.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Bimbi.live. Bimbi.live. I mean, it's so catchy, you can't miss that. Yeah. So yeah, we wish you all the best, and I'm sure we'll catch you at one of the dates.
Oh, definitely.
If not in London,
you have to be there.
Yeah,
London and Ghana, you'll be there.
Yes, it will actually be an experience. Yeah, to be on the road with you. Because it sounds like there's going to be a lot of women around and a lot of men as well. Try to balance the whole conversation.
It's gonna be an interesting one where I usually say it's a night we're gonna celebrate women with Afrobeats.
Of course, yes, definitely. Thank you for having us. Afrobeats with purpose.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's gonna have us on the tour, so yes, thank you in advance.
What's that?
It's never far off, G.A.B.E. All right. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.